Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while for us, and we want to touch up on some news with y'all. We got some NFL news to talk about here today. Also, we're going to talk about some another retirement just happened, a big signing today, and also we're going to talk about a little bit about the draft coming up here, right here on the Cameron Spot Show.
This is the Commissar Show. Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts.
I mean, coaching is like being a parent. And Christmas time, you see the kids opening up presents, you see them excited. You're excited. And to see the Baylor fans be able to celebrate and cheer, to see the city of Waco be able to celebrate and cheer, to see the state of Texas. I mean, look how much great basketball we have from high school, AAU, junior college. And we haven't won a national championship since '66. So it's long overdue for the state. And again, just so pleased for all them. We have an unbelievable administration, Mac Rhodes, President Livingstone, that have given us every resource to be successful. And the guys that have sacrificed for 18 years leading up to this, and these guys that were able to take it home. And it was great to see Freddie and Devontae and Tristan in the stands. And we knew last year they really wanted to have a chance to do this, and we weren't going to have any regrets with this tournament. We wanted to leave it all on the court. Really blessed with the effort everyone gave us tonight.
Welcome, guys, to the Cameron Sauer Show. We heard from Scott Drew, not Scott Doyle, but Scott Drew was the coach for the Bears men's basketball team. They beat Gonzaga 2 weeks ago. It was 86-70. What a great time that was, historical time for Waco, for Central Texas, also for the state of Texas. That was a game I think everybody watched, and I think Baylor. I'm going to tell you this before we get into this, Scott, about NFL. I'm going to give you this kind of note here of what Baylor had done. This is the first time they won a national title since back in the 1970s. I think that's the last time they ever went to the Final Four. I mean, for the Final Four, I think, and the Final Two going to the national championship. But Scott, I mean, look at this, man. I mean, they dominated in the first half, and they got in the second half because I kind of came back a little bit. But other than that, Baylor took care of Gonzaga. I mean, it was a big day for them, big day for Texas, big day for Waco. I mean, Scott Drew told from when he was hired 2013, from 2020 with 03, back in 2003, he was hired, and he said it's going to take him for a long time to get this team, this program. And I tell you, in 18 years now, back I'll tell you, back in 2003 to now, I mean, what a very elite team it was. I mean, you have Moravato, you have T, you have Myers, you have. I mean, I can tell the list on and on. I mean, these are seniors that came back last year. They should have won national championship last year, but it was a pandemic time, and they came back this year and said, "Look, we'll just go ahead and get rid of. We ain't gonna go play for NBA this year. Why don't we just opt out of the draft and let's play for Scott Drew and let's make this win for him?" And they came back, and I tell you what, man, they did not win the Big 12 tournament, but they won the regular season Big 12 regular season championship. But they came with revenges, and into that tournament, they just came out knocking butts, man. I mean, they were great. They were very good. They're like elite NBA team that you can take Scott Drew and you can play NBA versus a Houston Rockets team or put them against Mavericks. I mean, this team was good. I mean, understandably, they were great. So, Scott, let me ask you this. How does it feel to see Baylor win a national title game that Monday night?
Well, it was a shocker. I mean, Gonzaga was, Las Vegas had Gonzaga to win, and the city of Waco did not believe that, and they believed they had a better team, and they came out and proved that they did have a better team. They came out strong. Really fast. Score points really fast. They look great. Congratulations to the Baylor Bear men's college basketball. This is a big boost for Baylor. For them, now they'll get some more good recruits. And hopefully, Scott Drew will be like with Kim Mulkey with her team, and winning national championships and going to the Final Four all the time. It would have been great to see Baylor men and women at the championship, but the women fell short. But they always have a great year under Kim Mulkey, and Scott Drew has a wonderful team. He's been a great coach. Hearing from players, that used to be under him, they're always grateful for what he has taught them. He is a very patient person, and he teaches these kids good values and stuff like that. It was great to see that. The city of Waco had a big parade yesterday.
It was massive.
With the guys were out there, showing it off. It was great. With the time like this, especially in Central Texas, with the COVID going on and everything. Yeah, a lot of people are jealous that, and are very concerned that, our state has opened up 100%. But, we needed this as a state, coming out of COVID. This was a time for finally the city of Waco to just not worry about things like this and not worry about things what's going on and take a break. And, and they got to see their team to win a national championship, and that's just great for them. And congratulations to the Baylor Bears.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, they went from tournament. They almost got nearly Wisconsin game headaches. Right into that third round, but Baylor all of a sudden they just went on and just went like didn't no stop until they went to the Final Four. And Scott, my bracket was kind of like closer. I don't know if you didn't even do a bracket this year for NCAA tournament, but. Man, I finished 8th out of pretty much, I think not everyone, but I might finish maybe in the middle in the pack between like 20,000 people. But I don't know, man, I had it to where I was thinking about making a 2 or 3 brackets after that, but I didn't. But man, I had a clear shot to almost have pretty much like a perfect bracket, but it happens. So other news today, Scott, give us anything that you know of in NFL notes. Do you have anything that you need to talk about? Any retirements or anything you think is on your mind?
Definitely. We got a lot to talk about in NFL news today. First of all, just this week, Julie Edelman retired from the Patriots. A lot of people are speculating that he's retired, doesn't want to play for the Patriots anymore. Is he going to go to Tampa Bay? I mean, he could. They could sign him. Why not? Let's have an extra weapon over there. But I think Julie Edelman, he's been injured a lot the last couple of years. I think he might just retire. Maybe come back maybe next year when he's just rested. He's been broken down, and hate to see him go. He was a great football player. Helped me out on a lot of my fantasy leagues as my number 2, number 3 guy. Scored me points on DFS as well. Hate to see him go on that one. But on other news, today the NFLPA has announced that they for volunteer workouts that no team should be working out right now because of the pandemic going on. But here's 5 teams that has already said that they're not going to do the off-season workouts. Is Patriots, Buccaneers, also the Detroit Lions, Denver Broncos, and Seattle Seahawks. Now, in my opinion, Denver Broncos and Detroit Lions, they need all the help they can get, so they should be working out. But here's what's going on right now, and I'm gonna touch about this after I read this. So the first phase from April 19th to May 14th will consist of virtual meetings, no on-field drills, or work with the coaches and the facility along with the weight capacity room will be placed. So nothing going on other than virtual. Okay. Second phase, May 17th, it's gonna add full speed on drills with coaches in the mix, but no contact. Third phase, May 24th to June 18th, it will be back to traditional OTAs and mandatory minicap. Okay, so my deal on this is, what makes it different between April and May with no contact, and June, okay, you can do contact. Is things going to change in June from there? People not getting, COVID and stuff like that. I just have a hard time believing that no workouts and everything, for those 2 months is going to help these players out, especially the rookies. Traditionally the rookies can't really do OTAs because they're still in college, volunteer workouts. But, if these guys are not going to be doing any workouts, some of these teams are not going to be doing any off-season workouts, not going to camps, how's these rookies going to prove themselves to these coaches, especially the undrafted ones? How are they going to prove themselves? How are they going to show that, hey, you know what, I am worth it. You guys didn't draft me, but I'm here. I'm gonna work out. I want to show you what I can do. How's it going to help these rookies out? For one thing, okay, you can do so much on virtual, workouts and all this stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, he looks fast, but when you're not there and they're not playing against somebody else, how do you know this guy's going to be good? How do you know he's like, no, you know what? We're not going to use him. And as we know, as we seen last year, with the pandemic going on and not many workouts and stuff, there was a lot of injuries. Didn't have a preseason at all. So they couldn't, work out the fine tunes. Some teams struggled for the first half of the season because they just can't click because they hadn't worked with each other. There's going to be a point as, okay, what if 2022 comes around and the pandemic's still here, and, are we going to keep doing this or what? There's going to be a time where you're just going to have to stop and say, you know what, either we're going to do this fully, we're going to practice all the time, or we're just not going to do it anymore because we're too afraid something's going to happen. Okay, I get it. The team that got it worse was the Ravens and their strengthening coach and all those guys there, getting tested positive. We want to worry about that. We want to worry about the health of the players and everything. I understand that, and I get that. But there is a point when you just need to say, hey, you know what? We got to do this. Eventually, America has to go back to work. America has to start opening back up. We can't just not be worried about this all the time. We're going to have to take risks. We're doing everything to be precautious. If you want to take the vaccine to make sure you're okay, fine, do it. You know what? You did your part. I think these guys are ready to play, and some of them don't want to practice because, you know what? hey, I don't need the repetition of practice. I don't need this. I'm okay. I'm number one for a reason. Well, just because you're number one for a reason doesn't mean you can be a better number one. I think we need to quit worrying about this all the time. Okay. I'm not saying you shouldn't worry about it, but yeah, let's just see, let's just try it out and see, hey, you know what? Hey, we see you spiking this. We got to shut the facilities down. Sorry. Let's just do it. I mean, it's not fair for all 32 teams, to say, you know what, this team wanted to go work out, but this, and they can't because they're told not to. Well, it is up to the owners if they want to do this. And I hope some of these owners realize, you know what, we're going to continue to work out. We're going to do what we knew we were going to do. But be cautious. Be cautious. Just make sure, you're doing what needs to be done. Like I said, let's just test it out and see how things go, guys. I mean, we can't be afraid forever, and we can't be worried about everything. America is ready to be normal again. America wants to see their sports, their heroes, their guys that, they want to watch. They want to take a break from everything that's going on in this world, including the United States. They want to see their guys play the game. And Cameron, you can follow up on that and let me know how you feel about that.
Hey, Scott, actually, I got something right here. I got something. I kind of agree with you, though. I really do. But here's the thing, Scott. There's still got spring football still going on right now. Like, you have Southern, you have Grambling, you have some of these smaller colleges where they did not play last year because of the COVID, so they moved it to the spring to have their football games. I think this year didn't have the championship game for Division II. I don't know, but I think they make it short, whereas they don't have to do spring football, and and then I think they kind of wait till kind of like when NFL draft, when they get draft for everybody, and I guess when they get to the facilities, I guess it'll be the first thing they're gonna do to get a COVID shot. I guess like maybe a couple of days or a couple of weeks to get another COVID shot just to make sure that they're good. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's just, kind of weird thing this year. They kind of no contact, but I think what they're kind of cautious of is probably when COVID might rise again, but I don't think they will. If everybody was pretty much 99.9% of players all like got their COVID shots in the past maybe 4 or 5 months, or they had some type of, they take their vitamins, or they take this, or they take that, and they say, well, and they had the COVID, I didn't have the flu. Now you get to the point where, okay, well, we get the flu shot, they get the same substance that we'll take with the COVID shot. So I'll wait till the fall where the flu shots will come out. They'll have the same stuff like the COVID shots had. So I think there's a lot of give and take.
Agree. I totally agree with you, Cameron. And here's the deal: the state of Texas, they're the only state as of right now that's open 100%. Okay, a lot of people still feel like, including Texans, that the state shouldn't be at 100%. Okay, you're going to have to adapt to this. Your body has to get used to this, just like when the flu came out, in the 1900s. Or late 1800s, early 1900s, your body has to get adapt to it, and once it eventually it will get adapt to it, and we can control it better. But some of these states are going to have to, they're going to open up, and yes, they're going to see a spike. It's exactly the same thing that happened to Texas. They opened up, they saw a spike, they brought it down, they didn't close the state again, or they didn't, put it down to 25%, but they brought it down, monitored it, everything leveled out for a while, and we opened up the state. Again, we have our vaccinations. There's people that get vaccinated, and they're okay with it. They feel safe with it, and that's fine. Okay. But these states are going to have to open up slowly. and they're going to see spikes. It's going to happen because you've been for a year in your house, confined, not doing anything. You can go out at certain times, come home at a certain time, work when you can, come home. Can't do nothing. Can't go to a bar. Can't go inside a restaurant. When these states open up, they're going to see a spike. It's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing in the NFL, baseball, whatever you look at. Okay, it's going to happen. Don't be scared if it's going to be if it happens. It's going to happen. It's going to be okay. We're all going to be through this, and yes, there's going to be deaths, and there's going to be, people really sick, and that's very, very unfortunate. And as the NFL needs to open up, they need to start playing. It just needs to start going again. We have to go again. And some people are totally going to disagree with me, and that's fine. But I feel like at this time that we just need to, start getting back to normal.
And Scott, well, you gotta understand though. I remember last year when nobody didn't get out the house, but everybody pretty much, you could see everybody pretty much, like NFL guys, like college guys, like a lot of the guys that I know of that opt out. But they said they did their workouts at home virtually. They kind of like they went to different places where I think Jamar Chase is one of the guys, or like the top 2 wide receivers. He went to Dallas and practiced and trained,
right?
And he went to LSU and did his pro day. Now, I like the idea you have the pro day in your colleges. I like it this year. But I know next year we're going back to Indianapolis to do the whole Scouting Combine again. But I think what was the most concerning was at the time was, how many people will die in this? I guess people try to keep from, trying not to, trying to spread the virus, whatever. But I think what a lot of people did was nobody didn't care about it. Everybody wasn't worried about it. Some people were. And this is the 1 year prior after this, everybody got the vaccine and everybody took the vaccine, players took the vaccine. I guess everybody did. But I mean, you can see the difference between, from none to, I understand no tackling this year, but you're going to see something going to change. Protocols, they're going to go through to get to check their temperatures.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying.
In practice. So no tackling in practice. Okay. Well, when are you going to tackle? The first day of NFL football and somebody gets hurt?
No.
No. You just can't do that.
No. They're going to do something. I'm sorry, Scott.
Why don't we just play flag football? Why don't we just play flag football? If we're so worried about touching and making contact, well, instead of putting pads on and everything, if we're that worried, let's just put some flags on and play flag football and pull the flag and call it a day. Does anybody want to watch that as a fan? No, they don't. I don't care if you agree of what I said or disagree. These guys want to see some tackle football, and that's how it's going to be. I'm sorry. Nobody wants to see flag football. You might as well just watch, arena football or something.
Yeah, I agree with you, Scott. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just saying, it may get to a time where we're going to see some tackling probably right after the draft, and they might say, hey, you can start going tackle somebody. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. I'm afraid like NFL is going to get to that point where, we're too worried about COVID right now. Let's just play. Either we don't play at all or we play flag football. And I'm like, I'd rather not have a season.
Yeah, but we're going to have a season where we're going to see some tackling.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
I said we're going to see when the season starts after NFL draft. I think you're going to see some tackling, start OTAs and camps. I said that's really the first thing.
You will. Not all teams are not going to not volunteer and not do stuff. There's going to be teams that's going to do it and they're going to play. But the teams that really needs to work on those guys going to have to. their fans are not going to be happy that they're not working out and not participating. If I'm a Detroit Lion fan, you just gave up Matthew Stafford and gave up some picks for Jared Goff, and I don't have Kenny Galladay anymore. I don't have Marvin Jones anymore. And now you're telling me, we're not going to practice. We're not going to do off-season practice. As a fan, I would be really, really upset.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I can tell you, Scott, is probably, they're going to let see the teams who wants to practice. They're going to find out and see, can they play tackle? And then they're going to play, tackle someone. If they figure out they can, then they're going to start bringing other organizations that says, hey, you know what, since them teams are starting practicing, why we can too? That's be the first start. Maybe let them understand how it goes and go from there.
That's what's going to happen. But it is what it is, and we'll see what else is going to happen and which other teams are not going to do off-season practice, and we'll see on the seasons. Whoever's in the playoffs and going to the Super Bowl, we'll see if that worked out for everybody. But anyways, other news. Cam, Clowney went to the Browns, got signed today for 1 year, $10 million. How awesome is that defense going to be, in your opinion?
Oh man, that'd be your number one defense for the fantasy, man. I mean, that's I think with Clowney, you have Myles Garrett, and you have you have the corners, and it's going to be a team that I think that's an upgrade. I think that is a big upgrade to get Clowney.
They didn't get J.J. Watt. They got Clowney. So is Clowney going to produce? He didn't really do anything for Tennessee last year.
Oh, yeah.
But, with Myles Garrett being on the other side, you better expect, this guy to play. And, but let me ask you this, Cam.
Go ahead.
Everybody's saying now with this big signing, they got the offense, they got the defense that they need. And then, them going into the draft and they'll have Odell Beckham back. Do you think they're going to be a top 5 NFL team?
If they stay healthy with OBJ and the defense stays healthy with Clowney and Garrett get together, man, I'm telling you, man, the Browns defense, I'm telling you, without Clowney last year, they were like the top 5 team. Pretty much, they were bad. They gave a whopping 56 points, I guess, in defense, whatever that happened when they're in the bad weather. I don't know why they do good in bad weather. That's just me. But if you have Clowney and Myles and you have your offense healthy, you're going to have Mayfield coming back again, have a new offense of offensive schemes. I think this is going to be and they got in the wild card game. I think you're going to see this team going more further than the wild card game this year. I believe you're going to see between probably a divisional round or probably the AFC Championship game. They came right to the AFC Championship game, but they came closer in the Super Bowl. But I tell you what, they're going to be right into this football season.
So you think they're going to have a better record of 8-8 this year?
I think they have a better record than that. Yes. At least maybe a 12 and 5 or 11-5.
Let's remember we have a 17-game season this year.
Well, about 12 and 5. Okay.
Well, I don't think they are. I'm gonna be honest with you. Everybody puts the hype on Cleveland and how good they were. And, there's times when Baker Mayfield looks like he's the top 5 quarterback, and then he goes back and he's down in the 20s as a quarterback. He's very inconsistent. Now, if they can go get some offseason or in the draft to get some offensive line to help him out and give him a little bit more time in the pocket, I think they can do better. But here's my opinion. I just don't think they're going to have no longer 8-8 season, but I think they're going to have one more win. I think they're going to go. I think they're more likely going to the wild card, and that's it. That's my opinion. I just don't think they're there yet, but they're going to be there soon. They're going to be there probably by next year. If their offensive line can click and let them have time, let Baker Mayfield have time in that pocket to throw that ball. They already got the running game established. They got somewhat of the passing game, there. It's just Baker Mayfield. Is he going to throw the passes that needs to be done and in clutch time? And if they're down by 3, is he going to be a 2-minute guy that's going to take them down the field to win a game? That's what Baker Mayfield needs to do, and their defense needs to hold. If they're ahead by 2 touchdowns, because there were several times last year when they were ahead and their defense let them down. With Clowney coming in there, they should hold that their scores. And but I just think at this time, I just think they're just a wild card team. They're winning out, and that's it. But next year, I think they're going to be better.
Okay, Scott, so let me ask this question. So the Bengals had they just claimed Thaddeus Moss, the tight end for the Washington team, and he, because of his injuries last season, couldn't play last year. With that pickup, and also down the grapevine, they may draft Jamar Chase in the 5th spot. Maybe, is it a possibility that we can see Burrow, Thad, and Jamar Chase show this year in the Bengals?
I think so. That would be a great pickup for the Bengals. We as we know that the Bengals need the offensive help drastically. I honestly think, they lost AJ Green, which we all know AJ Green was, dealt with injuries. He's not the AJ Green that he used to be. Will this help him out? Definitely. But offensive line, they need, and I think they need to establish that this year and next year. So give Joey Burrow a chance. I mean, look, this guy is something special. I mean, he's a great quarterback. Him and Justin Herbert last year were fighting for Rookie of the Year, and it was close until he got hurt, and it really broke my heart to see him get hurt like that, because he's starting to come around. He was starting to look really good. But they definitely need to get some offensive line help, and they definitely need to get some defensive help. If they're going to be anything, a contender in that division, they got to get that offensive help and that defensive help. They got to have a pass rusher that's wanting to come in there and just dominate. Their corners, I mean, Dallas, look at Dallas when they played them. I mean, Dallas just scored against them, and they didn't even have their number one quarterback. So, their defense and their offense, they need help drastically. And with those guys, it would definitely help out.
Yeah, and basically, I think when they're going, the Bengals are going to go into the draft, probably going to pull out the rabbit out of the hat, try and get somebody right around like the 10th or 11th pick, and try and get some draft picks right there, like the 2 first-rounders, and maybe get their offense right on schedule. So let me ask this question, Scott. So we've been talking about other news and notes. Do you think Dak Prescott, since that injury last year, you think he's going to be stronger than he was 2 years ago when he took over the helm for Tony Romo, or you think he'll be kind of like he was not movable, or he going to stay in the pocket more than he was last year?
So look at it this way. Last year, Dak Prescott was on a record pace to break the passing yard and TD yards of all time. I mean, even when he was injured for the first 3-4 weeks, he was still in the top 10 passing yards. You know, with the new, with Mike McCarthy and the offense there, I think Dak, he got his big contract. That's what he was been looking for. I want to see Dak prove that he is worth that money. Okay, you guys, you know how I feel about Dak. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a headstrong. He is a leader. But I want to see him, be there in the clutch when it needs to be done. I need to see him if he's down in his 2-minute warning. He's down a touchdown, and I want to see these guys go down the field very quick and not a lot of time left, and win the game. Is he going to be mobile from that injury? Dak is looking great right now. Just by the reports and some very small videos of him just working out, he said he feels great, better than he has been since his rookie season. He said the surgery actually really helped him out. But that's a lot of talk. Now I need to see him prove it, and I think he will. And you're going to see a different Dak Prescott this year. I don't think the money's going to get to him, and he got paid and now he's not going to play. He's going to just be average. No, I think Dak is going to be dominating this year, and I think you're going to see him this year as the top 3 quarterback all season long if he stays healthy. If that offensive line can protect him and let him have time to throw the ball, but also Dak needs to look at the field and not concentrate. Hey, if these wide receivers are just covered, he needs to look down the field and okay, I need to get a first down some way somehow. And that's what was great about Tony Romo. Yes, he got hurt a lot, but that was great. What was great about Tony Romo, he would his guys wouldn't open. All right, I'm running as much as I can to get a first down. He gave his team a chance to win, and I want that in Dak Prescott. I want to see that, and we started to see that with him, but our defense failed, and we couldn't keep the score. We couldn't stop offense, and the defense. Yes, there was a lot of signings, this offseason, these 1-year deals, but are these guys going to be the guy to stop them? I need to see Van Der Esch. I need to see Jalen Smith. I need to see D-Law. I need to see all these guys, and hopefully we would sign. Dallas would sign Aldon Smith back, but he said he doesn't want to play. But hopefully he can't. They'll sign him. I want to see all these guys get in there, cover these guys. Get in there, pressure the quarterback, sack the quarterback, make fumbles. They need to start doing that to give Dak Prescott a chance to win a game. And I think you're going to, like I said, I think you're going to see a different Dak Prescott this year. You're going to see a more structured Dak Prescott, and you're going to see a more mobile Dak Prescott this year.
Hey, Scott, so we're going to talk – well, since we're talking about the Cowboys, do you think Sean Lee is going to either stay another year, or you think he's going to retire after this season, after this season is over?
Well, as of right now, I don't think Sean Lee is signed, if I'm not mistaken. If he is, then I didn't see that. If Sean Lee is signed, I think it is his last year. I think he's going to retire, or he may go play somewhere else if he doesn't feel like he's ready to retire. Because I don't think Dallas is going to re-sign him unless Sean Lee just plays all 16 games and just comes out and starts playing and starts doing interceptions and making pressures and whatever he does to if he does, great. If he doesn't, I thank you, Sean, for all the years that you were there. And he is a leader on the defense as well. But it's not going to hurt my feelings if Sean Lee's not going to be here this year or next year.
Okay, Scott. So, what do you want to see this year on the defensive line? I mean, I know you have Tank Lawrence. You have, now you don't have another pass rusher. So, what do you want to see with the new defense for the Cowboys when they start getting some drafts and get some defensive line there? What do you want to see on that defense? I mean, really, last year they kind of gave up some plays earlier in the season, and I guess you could see in the middle of the season they kind of know who they were. But what do you want to see on that defense to step up and to see who's going to be the main guy to take over that defensive line?
Well, here's the deal, Cam. First thing, they got rid of Mike Nolan, so that's already an improvement as it is. They brought Coach Quinn in there. He's going to be the defensive coordinator over there. That's what he's known for. Yeah, he didn't do with his team great with Atlanta, but I think it's going to help out over there. And Dallas is going to bring some new, fresh ideas. And the problem is with Dallas is that they were working on some other team's defense, and that's not how you run a defense. When you get a defense, you need to make up some plays that that is yours and that's effective. And coming to what you were saying, who's going to be the guy that needs to be over there? The guy needs to be DeMarcus Lawrence. They paid him 2 years ago. They paid him that big money. He started coming on strong a little bit at the end of the season, but it was too late. So DeMarcus Lawrence needs to come back and play like he was 3 years ago. And I need to see him do 15 to 16 sacks this year. I need to see him do some fumbles. He needs to come out there and play aggressive every down and every game. He needs to put pressure on that quarterback, because if he puts that pressure on that quarterback, that defense will step up and they will play. He needs to be the guy that's in the huddle. He needs to get these guys riled up every time when they make a mistake. He needs to get in there and get these guys going. He needs to be the team captain for the defense. He's the guy that can pump everybody up. He did it 3 years ago. He's got to do it now. And if it's not him, then I don't know who could be the guy over there. But he's the guy right now that should be stepping up over there.
Okay, Scott, so who you think Zach Martin found his identity last year when he came back from his injury to be a left guard and make some posts for Zeke? You think that's where he's going to be this year and not move him out of that position this year?
Look, I would keep him where he was at. He really helped out the offensive line when he was there. Unfortunately, he had that major injury. That actually probably if he was healthy, the Cowboys probably would have went to the playoffs. But let me tell you what, Zach Martin, he was the heart and soul of that team when everybody got hurt. And everybody relied on him. The rookies relied on him. We've got to start building up our offensive line again, like we did when we drafted Zach Martin, Frederickson, and Smith. Smith, he's a great tackle, left tackle, but he just can't stay healthy. The guy gets hurt so much, and we need to get in that draft and get some offensive line and redo our structure again on that offensive line. I mean, we got to find a center that just. I mean, I'm not saying Joe Looney didn't do a great job, but I mean, we got to find that center like Travis Ferguson. Whoever drafted him, like, find that again. We need to search and look for that one guy there, because that it starts with the center. I mean, and then you got your guards and your tackles. So as Zach Martin, man, I hope he has have a great year. I hope we can have Terrence Smith again. He was, even when he was hurt, 2 years ago. I mean, we got him back for a little bit, but him being out for the rest of the season last year really, really hurt the Dallas Cowboys, and unfortunately, Dak Prescott as well. So having Smith there, Martin there, I think we just need to leave him right there where he is.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, so Scott, I did a little mock draft myself 2-3 weeks back, but I tell you what, since I did my little mock draft and you did your little mock draft too, we see some changes in jumping into the draft board. We seen like the 49ers came from the 9th or 8th spot and jumped to 3rd, trying to get themselves a quarterback. Who you think be fitting in their West Coast schemes? You think be Zach Wilson, or you think Matt Jones might fit in their offensive scheme play?
Look, man, I think Mac Jones will. Man, let me tell you, that kid's something else, isn't he? I definitely, I think he will be really, really great over there in San Francisco. He's just the guy that fits their scheme. He looks great. He's everything that San Francisco is actually looking for. Will he replace Jimmy G? Yeah, I think he will if he gets drafted over there. But a lot of people think that Justin Fields will be great over there too. So, in my opinion, I think Mac Jones should go over there, but I think San Francisco is going to go get Justin Fields.
On your draft board, Scott, I think you saw the Cowboys got a number 9 or number 10 pick. Got the guy's name in Oregon, but do you think that's a great pick if he'd be on the board on their end, the side of the deal, if they would get him on the 10th pick?
So here's the deal, bud. And I've been thinking about this for a while. I think the Dallas Cowboys need to give up their number 10 spot. And here's why I think. I think they need to give – Jerry Jones is going to get phone calls for that number 10 pick. And he's going to get it from number 11. Yeah, go ahead.
So you're going for taking the number 1 pick and going to the second round, right?
No, here's the deal. I think that Dallas needs to give up their number 10 pick and move back. But here's the deal. I think what they need to do is get a number 10. If they want the number 10 pick, go back a few spots, and it's going to be phone calls from the number 11 all the way down to probably number 18, right? They want to move in and get some wide receivers. So let's look at it this way. The first 13, 14 picks are going to be offensive line. Okay. Why not go back and say be at number 13, number 14, maybe 15. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And why not and say everybody in the offense has been picked. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No defensive player has been picked.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, for example, who has 2 number 1 picks in the first round? Well, let's look at it. Look at this team. All right. Say, hey, I'll let you have this number 10 pick if I move back, and plus I want your other number 1 pick for this year. That means Dallas could have 2 number 1 picks.
Right.
And they can go in there and get the number 1 defensive player in there. And then turn around and get them another defensive player, because I think he's still going to be there at that pick. I think he's still going to be there, but I would go in there and get the number 1 defensive line pass rusher in there. Yeah. That's my opinion, and I think Dallas should do that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of talks there, Scott. I mean, you're in the head there. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you get a top 10 pick you got there, and then you might say, hey guys, let's go down on the 13th pick, and then might say, here's a second draft. We give it to you, second round pick. We give you the first round pick, and you give us the first round pick on the 13th selection, and we'll just give you our second. I mean, that'd be worked hand in hand. I mean, it could be anybody. It could be the Bears. It could be the Saints. I mean, it could be anybody.
But look at it this way. If Dallas does something like that and get 2 number 1 round picks for the number 10 spot, then they go back to the second round, and guess where they're at? They're at that number 10 spot again.
Exactly.
So if I was Dallas, I would trade back, go get that 2 number 1 picks, and then look where you're at. And I think it's genius to do that. If they do that, they're going to have a solid draft, and they're going to have some solid picks over there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at it. So let's look at it this way. Offensive line people are not heavy this year. It's wide receivers
and quarterbacks
this year, and quarterback.
Yep.
Okay. And your wide receivers are not depth quarterbacks. They're going to be slot wide receivers.
Correct.
And so if you go there and you're like, okay, I'm going to go in my number 10 pick and pick possibly the number 1 offensive line player, whether it's center, guard, tackle, you're not going to lose by picking another guard, because you do need another. Dallas needs another guard. You're not going to lose if you're going to get the number 1 tackle, because Dallas needs another tackle. You're not going to lose if you get the number 1 center. So, I mean, it'd be a smart pick if Dallas would do that.
Yeah, take a chance. I mean, why not? I mean, this is a draft. You got to upgrade your team. I mean, why not go for it?
But hey, you could look at it this way too. Hey, you want that number 10? Well, I want your number 1, and also I want your number 4 or your number 6.
Yikes.
So, hey, Dallas can make a lot of plans this year, and if I would sell that number 10 spot right now, because
exactly.
You don't need a wide receiver. Dallas doesn't need a wide receiver. Dallas doesn't need a quarterback.
No.
So why not? Why not make that trade?
Hey, Scott. So basically, how many quarterbacks do the Cowboys have? I mean, like 4 quarterbacks? I mean, they got what? They got Cooper Rush. They have this other guy. They had like a rookie quarterback last year that took over for Dak Prescott. And they have Gilbert. So what do they do with those other quarterbacks? I mean, can they just like trade them off or keep them or unsign them for agencies?
Well, let's look at this way. Okay.
Oh, he is too.
Here's. Let's look at it this way. Dallas lost Andy Dalton to the Chicago Bears because Andy Dalton is going to be probably the starting quarterback over there at Chicago Bears. Okay.
Do you like that pickup or no?
You still have Alex. You still have Alex Smith, who Washington let go. He does want to go back to San Francisco, but if San Francisco gets Justin Fields or Mac Jones, Alex Smith is not going to be there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So why not test the field just in case something happens to Dak Prescott
and bring in Alex Smith?
Why not go get Alex Smith? Why not? Or you have a potential because right now Colt McCoy is not with the team right now, so they could get Colt McCoy. So why not? Why not? So the season hasn't started yet, so they still could go get a really decent backup quarterback. Now, Alex Smith maybe wants money. Okay,
yeah,
he still thinks he's a starter, and I think he is. I think he's still a starter. But as of right now, until the draft is over with, Alex Smith is not going to be signed. He'll probably be signed after the draft because they're going to evaluate their team, their picks and everything, and if they're not happy with they are any team, Alex Smith will be signed after the draft this year. So I would like to see him over there as a Cowboy as a backup quarterback. Bring him into a for one play, have Dak go out and go for a pass and throw Dak Prescott for a touchdown like he did last year. So it'd be nice to see that.
Yeah, it'll be great, Scott. But I mean, hey, here's the thing. It just came out of my knowledge in my head. I'll probably be wrong anyway. But honestly, if Alex Smith doesn't get signed by any team, I would think he'll be signed and go to the Jags, I think, and then be the starter there. And Colt McCoy's not with the Washington team. Why he just be the starter? I mean, the second behind Dak Prescott. I mean, that's a Texas Longhorn native. I mean, that's a former Texas Longhorn quarterback. I mean, hey, that's your quarterback there, Scott. I mean, hey, that'd be a great pick. That'd be a great pickup. Either one could be a good one. Either way.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Alex Smith wants to go play for a team. He wants to still be the starting quarterback. I mean, you don't just come out, after two something year, not playing and rehabbing and to be the backup quarterback. Some team's going to sign him somewhere. I don't think it's going to be the Jags because they're going to get their Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence is going to start over there.
Yeah.
If Deshaun Watson doesn't play with all the allegations that's going on, I think you'll see Alex there. That should be the number one my deal over there. But Tyrod Taylor will probably be the starter over there, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if Watson ain't going to play this year and get Alex Smith be their quarterback. So Scott, let me ask this question, and I think that'll be our last one tonight. I hope not if you want to keep going. But Najee Harris.
Yeah.
So Najee Harris is probably your only running back going to the Bucs, but do you think this is where you think Najee Harris might be good enough to play against the Bucs and be behind the two? I mean, Leonard Fournette and Randall Jones. But if Randall Jones don't make anything do next year, I mean, you have Najee Harris, whereas he looks like a Derrick Henry. I mean, good grief. I mean, he is built like Derrick Henry, but not as not big in physique, but I mean, the speed wise. But do you think it'll be like another Derrick Henry in years to come? I mean, to break records like Derrick Henry is doing last year?
Well, let's look at it this way. Leonard Fournette has been re-signed for another year. Ronald Jones. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Ronald Jones can be great at times, but look, he's just too inconsistent right now. And if he doesn't show to be the guy over there, he could take over there. And here's the deal. The only weakness right now that I see that Tampa Bay has is that they got to work a little bit on their offensive line, but everything else that Tampa Bay has, I mean, they're just golden right now. Their defense is unstoppable. They got the wide receivers they want. They got Gronk. They got AB. They got Miller. They got Evans, Godwin over there. They got everything they need, but what they don't have is the running game. The running game is too inconsistent over there. So to me, if he can step up and take over that role, by God, I mean, how are you going to stop the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah. I mean, it's huge. So, Scott, anything else to say tonight, man, before we close?
I do want to say something real quick. Guys, I'm very sorry that we haven't been on air lately. I'm dealing with some personal stuff in my life right now. I want to dedicate this show to my mom. She had a mini stroke about 4 weeks ago. I've been dealing with that with her, and there's some other things that came up with her. And I do apologize us not being on the air. It has took a toll on me a little bit. It was great to come on and talk a little bit. But my main concern is my mom right now, and I'm sorry if you haven't heard from us. I do apologize, but she is doing better. She is walking around, and this week has been major improvements on her. So I'm hoping to do a little bit more on the podcast and everything. But again, this podcast is dedicated to my mom. So.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate that, man, and we will hope and pray for your family. Also, pray for your mother. And guys, thank you for listening to this podcast. We know you will like this podcast. We'll keep going doing this as well. Sorry about the miss out the weeks and days, but it's been kind of weird. Been gone, and we're coming right back to y'all. Guys, if y'all want to listen to this podcast, you can listen again on the Podbean. It's our new little website there. You can listen to our podcast as well. You can listen to Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, and also iHeartRadio. And guys, just download these apps and just listen to it. I mean, hey, I know we've been gone so long, but hey, I want y'all to know that we are back in action. As we know, we'll get with y'all this week or maybe next week. I'll try to do some spring game analysis to the two LSU coach, Ed Orgeron, and also the Texas Longhorn coach. I'll try to do that either this week or Sunday, and we can talk about more, getting closer to spring football. Scott, I know you're getting excited about football again, but
yeah, I am. I'm getting excited. Especially coming up with this draft, we get to talk a little bit more. We're going to grade after the draft. We're going to grade each team to see how they did, where they messed up, where was a pick or a pick where you wouldn't expect that was going to happen on this team. We're going to grade that. Also, we may take a little break here and there and come back to you. But then in July, Polk and I were going to come on with Cameron, and we're going to talk about start up your fantasy league. If you've never been on a fantasy league before, we're going to help you out with that. Or if you want to start a team, your own fantasy group, what to do and what not to do on that. And then in August, we're back full time, and we're going to bring you the breaking news, everything you possibly need for your fantasy league, your fantasy setup for each and every week throughout the football season. We're going to get more in depth on certain things. We'll be ready to happy to be back and get back in motion again on that.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about some people that will be on this fantasy football game, this fantasy football podcast. Man, it's going to be great. I'm excited. I know you are too, Scott and Polk as well. So, guys, would be easy. Take care, and also we'll see you again next time on the podcast.